Welcome to Oyate Today. Oyate in Lakota means people. Brought to you by Native Sun News Today.
Hi, welcome to Oyate Today. I'm your host, Richie Richards. Oyate Today is produced by Tim and Jackie Gallego. Tim is an enrolled member of the Oglala Sioux tribe. Our guests tonight is Jesse Shortbull and Angel Tubulls of the Native Pop Film Showcase. Thank you both for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Jesse, could you tell us a little bit about yourself for those of us who have not been introduced to yourself?
Yeah, my name's Jesse Shortbull, and I'm from interior South Dakota. I'm also a member of the Oglala Lakota Nation and a current student at the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, New Mexico. But I really love it here in South Dakota, and I'm back for the summer and back to play with the film festival this year. So.
Well, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're spending your time here. And I'm thankful for your studies as well. So, Angel, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Angel Tubulls, and my maiden name is Mills. I'm from Porcupine, South Dakota, and I currently live in Red Shirt, South Dakota. And I'm also Oglala Lakota. And my background is in film and counseling.
Sure. And so now, as part of the Native Pop Film Showcase, both of you are organizers then? Is that what it is? Cool.
Yes.
And so, Jesse, how did you become interested in film?
I became interested in film when, I was always an avid moviegoer, especially here in Rapid City, you know, the Carmike Theater, the theater down by Kmart there, the Northgate Theater.
Sure.
I was always loved movies ever since I was a little kid, but I never thought of how I never dreamed that I would be a part of anything like that. I mean, it was just for my consumption, you know, movies was just for my own entertainment, and I always thought that was something associated with Hollywood, California, places that I never dreamed of going or being around, and. It's a crazy story. You know, I was going to enroll at Oglala Lakota College in the construction program, and while we were driving to Wamblee, South Dakota, to Eagle Nest College Center, I had a college course book in my hand, and I opened up the course book, and the first page that I saw was television production. And Oglala Lakota College had a television production program, and I, was just randomly kind of looking at some of the courses, and I thought that was so cool. And at the time in my life, I needed some sort of creative outlook, so I ditched my plans of joining the construction program that they had there and went with television production, and it just catapulted me onto a world that I never thought possible at the time, you know. It just took me all over the place, you know.
Mm-hmm. And Angel, how did you become interested in film then?
I watched films like Jesse all my life, and my dad was an avid film, he loved films, and one of his favorite movies is Blade Runner, and so I really got into that sci-fi and those genres of like fantasy and like never-ending story.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I really liked the fantasy aspect of it, and so when I got into college, I studied film as my minor, so film studies, looking at film language, aesthetics, all those background in film. And so after that, I went to Institute of American Indian Arts, and that's when I got more technical skills of like how to run a camera, aperture, all the other.
Sure.
And I actually took a course in Portland before I did that. We shot an 8 millimeter film. And that was an amazing experience as a cinematographer, because you have to measure it out. You have to have the tape measure. You have to have your grayscale card, and you don't know what it looks like because it's all in the film. It's all in the camera, and you won't know until you develop the film and then you transfer it.
Wow. Yeah.
And then splicing and cutting and the kind of manual labor that goes into doing film. But I love it. I love everything about it, the art form, and that's where I'm coming from.
Wouldn't that be something to see a native sci-fi film one
Yes.
day? That would be pretty awesome, actually. So both of you are involved in the Indigenous Film Festival happening at Oglala Nation Powwow this year. Could you tell us a little bit about that, Angel?
Yeah, so this year it is on August 2nd and 3rd, and we're having it at Billy Mills Hall.
In Pine Ridge?
Yes, in
Okay.
Pine Ridge, yes. And we have it every year during the Oglala Nation Powwow. And a couple of my teammates, other founders are Willie White, Angel White Eyes,
Sure.
Jimmy LaPointe, and then myself, and then we're hoping to have Jesse on this year.
That would be a great addition,
and
actually.
Yes. And actually, Jesse's helped before in the past. We've had First People's Fund, their Rolling Res Art Bus come and teaching a couple courses about film, like just how to make a film or a basic storyline, the 3 acts, those kind of skills during the festival.
Sure. And so I understand that you're working on, for this film showcase, there's a partnership with Vision Maker Media. Could you talk to me a little bit about that, Jesse?
Yeah. So in the past, it was kind of just an organic process with the Native Pop Film Showcase. In fact, it was just basically people out of both Angel and I's just personal networks of filmmakers that we've worked with or were friends of, or just people we had on our radar. And so we would just kind of reach out to them, kind of like just personally, and ask if they would want to participate in this film festival. This year is a little bit different. There's a little bit more of a process, like a more of an official process, like a typical film festival that's run with the partnership with the Vision Maker Media. Actually sent out a call to invite filmmakers who have anything that deals with the Great Plains and our native filmmakers. And that's a pretty big region, the Great Plains, goes down as far as Kansas, maybe even Oklahoma.
Sure.
All the way up to North Dakota. So that's a pretty broad area. But this year Vision Makers teamed up with Native Pop. They sent a call out. If that's something that you're interested in looking into, you can go to Vision Maker Media or contact Racing Magpie for those criteria to join in the festival this year. And the deadline is June 18th. So that partnership has been solidified, and also South Dakota Public Broadcasting has been involved with the festival venue, which is the Black Hills Bureau building here in Rapid City.
Sure. And so you actually got your start in film by being a co-producer. And could you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, it started with Oglala Lakota College, and I, started getting skills on camera. My biggest love was script writing, and I took my first script writing course in at Peowachoni in Kyle. And next thing I know, I started to meet some people. And these other big things started happening, like the Sundance Film Festival. We started to get on my radar, and I started to meet people. And I met some people that were interested in doing a collaboration with local people interested in film. And that set me on a journey to actually producing my first short film, along with a team of other individuals, including some people from Pine Ridge. And that led to an actual narrative story that, we did like a regular Hollywood movie. Even though it was a short film, it had a whole crew.
And what was the title of this film?
Yeah, this film was titled Ishtima.
And Ishtima means what in
Like
Lakota?
to sleep.
Cool.
And the story was actually a father-son tale set on Pine Ridge. And we just wanted to examine that sort of relationship. And so it was kind of a serious tale. But, for me, it was actually seeing something that I wrote on the page, you know, just words on a page, simple words, and then actually see it come to fruition on a big screen in an actual, you know, like theater, was just absolutely amazing. And, you know, that's, you know, kind of how, you know, it just keeps driving me, and that's why I'm, you know, always been involved and will want to help out, you know, anybody else that gets interested in film as well, you know.
Sure. Jesse, Angel, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we're going to learn a little bit more about the Indigenous Film Festival down at the Oglala Nation Powell this year. So we'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
You know, it's really busy in the coffee house, not just in the morning, but all day long. And it's really important that we serve our customers hot coffee, coffee that's ready for them when they're ready for it.
We get that, Michelle. And our team at Black Hills Energy will make sure you have the electricity you need to keep that Java nice and hot. Speaking of hot Java, how about a cup for the road? Black Hills Energy. Life sponsored by Energy.
You can't predict life's ups and downs. You just give it all you've got to stay on top. But it's easier with a partner like Security First Bank. Since 1898, we've been riding with you through the country's biggest ups and downs. And this is where we'll stay. Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on. Member FDIC.
Native Sun News has been voted the best weekly newspaper in its class for 2015 by the South Dakota and North Dakota Newspaper Associations. You can find a copy of the Native Sun News at many businesses and vending machines in Rapid City and the surrounding area, and on all 9 reservations. We publish every Wednesday, so advertisers and subscribers can reach our diverse readership by calling 605-721-1266. The Native Sun News covers the other side of the story.
I have a dream. I want to be a soldier. I have a dream. I want to be a construction worker.
You can help kids' dreams come true by donating to Rural America Initiatives Building Fund.
Hi, welcome back to Oyate Today. Once again, our guest tonight is Jesse Shortbull and Angel Tubulls, both of the film showcase down in Pine Ridge at the Oglala Nation Fair, right? Mm-hmm. Cool. So, Angel, could you talk to me a little bit about the films that you've had already submitted for this project? And I guess you have a submission date deadline coming up as well. So.
Yeah, so we're also looking for film submissions for our festival, and we're taking submissions until the 29th. And basically, all the qualifications you have to submit is just be an Indigenous person, and you can do that online at indigenousfilmfestival.org/submit. Or you can email submit@indigenousfilmfestival.org.
Cool.
And then anybody who has my email can also email it to me too. So angel.tubulls@gmail.com.
Sure.
So those are a couple different ways, and we kind of like work with people to get their films in. But yeah, our main focus is to give Indigenous people a platform, and part of our mission is that celebrate and elevate and empower our story in our communities. And so part of that is giving us creating our own platform. So our first year it was very grassroots, independent. We call it the Independent Guerrilla Film Festival. And we had zero budget, and it was just like the core team I mentioned earlier. And we got out together and we just decided, we need to have this space for ourselves, even if we have to create it on our own. And so we actually got locked out of the building that we were supposed to be in. So we had to think on our toes, and we just threw a sheet up. We had a projector.
Right outside then.
Yes, and
wow.
We ran it outside of my brother's car. He had like a plug-in.
Yeah.
We had some speakers, and we just kind of like told everybody, like hang out here. We're gonna project. We actually projected a Shtima, which was a really awesome short, and and just it was just amazing just to see people coming in and out and just really seeing like, what is this? Like being really curious about what we were showing, and not seeing that before. To be like, hey, actually a native person made that. And because it's often the narrative that non-native people are making native films about native people, or subject is native. And so I think to hear from a native person and to have that perspective is so unique. And that's just something that we're trying to build a space for. And we're looking at more from an equity standpoint.
Yeah.
And that's why we only accept people from an Indigenous background.
And so how important is Native voice in films, whether they're short films or major productions? How important is that Indigenous voice to be a part of that project and a part of that message of that film?
Yeah, so with my background as a therapist and just that mental health piece, seeing yourself on screen and just being represented, I think that does so much for a person, for their identity, for their ego, all those different layers. And like we were talking earlier about like my grandfather, for example, in his day, there was John Wayne, and
sure.
Although it was very misrepresentative, there was red face, it was kind of derogatory. Despite all those factors, I think just it was exciting for him to see natives on film, even if it wasn't accurate.
Yeah.
And I think right now we're transforming, and we're going to a level where it is native film. There are native actors. It is written by a native person, directed by a native person, and so we're moving into that new realm of like what we could really push and expand.
And we no longer need wigs.
No.
Right.
We could grow our own hair.
Right. And so, Jesse, you're joining the project this year. You're coming on board the way it sounds. And what's going to be your role in this project down in Pine Ridge then?
Yeah, well, the first thing I'd like to say is, Angel talked about that sort of pop-up festival. And that, to me, out of all the film festivals I've ever been to, from Los Angeles to eastern part of the United States, down in New Mexico, dozens and dozens of different film festivals. My favorite one has been that one in Pine Ridge, and the most memorable is that one that Angel talked about, because of it was real, it was sincere, and people were taken care of. And like there was no ego. It was just a bunch of people getting together and having a good time, and that registered more with me. I'm always interested to help out in any way that I can, whether it's just making popcorn, or help ushering people finding their seats, or just finding reaching out to other filmmakers and encouraging them to apply. So I'm more than interested in helping out in any way that I can, with this film festival, because it is, to me, is my favorite. I really like it. I think it's picking up more steam and more interest throughout the state. And like even the last time I was down there, the films, we got were just stellar. They were just like the production quality of the films that were coming in. So the interest, I think that there's going to be a lot more potential for growth with that film festival in Pine Ridge, and anybody that would come to them is going to be largely impressed with the content. So I'm definitely interested in helping in any way that I can.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Some of my best experiences have been eating popcorn and watching a film on a sheet. So I'm glad you you brought that up, because it's a really good time, actually. Angel, how important is it? We talked a little bit about stereotyping in film. We touched on it a little bit, I should say. But how important is it for youth to get involved in a film movement, I guess, and get their voices projected? What role can youth play in this?
Well, I think it's just so powerful for youth, again, like, to see themselves and that visibility and that space and that voice. Because I think even just being a youth, they're often pushed to the side of like, oh, well, you're not valid, or your voice doesn't matter. But I come from a person-centered theory background, and I really think that it's, the youth have a lot of that power inside of themselves. Every person has power inside of themselves. And so like giving that space for our youth and believing in them and trusting them and saying like, hey, like you can do it, I think that will propel them a long way. And particularly in film, it's something that you can create. It's something like you can write. I think nowadays with our technology, we have access to so much. You can shoot on an iPhone. There have been films shot on iPhones, and I think it's just really about these skills or storytelling, you know, and we have storytelling in our communities for a long time, and that's kind of what we do, right?
Yeah.
And it's just that translation to the film, to the visual. So how do we get that across? How do we get those feelings across, those emotions? And I really think that if a youth or anybody really, if they start making a film and get that across, it's kind of an outlet. It's like opening that part of themselves and sharing it with everybody, which is therapeutic. When you let, it's kind of like a release.
Catharsis.
Oh, I'm sharing my story with everybody.
Definitely, definitely. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit about Native Pop happening this summer and the role you're both playing in that. So we'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
When discrimination happens in our community, and it does happen,
then it's time to stand up
and speak out to make it stop.
Discrimination hurts and excludes.
We can be better than that.
People of Black Hills have a connection to each other, and none of us deserve discrimination.
The Rapid City Human Relations Commission can help with discrimination issues in housing, employment, and public accommodations.
And each of us, when we see it or hear it, can do our part to end discrimination.
You have a responsibility to stand up and speak out.
Hi, welcome back to Oyate Today. Once again, our guest tonight is Jesse Shortbull and Angel Tubulls. We have been talking about film and the film festival happening down in the Indigenous Film Festival happening down in Pine Ridge during Oglala Lakota Fair. So, great discussion so far. But I want to kind of change the subject a little bit and talk about Native Pop. And it's called the Native Pop Film Showcase, happening during Native People of the Plains Native Pop during this summer here in Rapid City. So could you talk to me a little bit about what's happening with that project?
Yeah, so it's happening July 21st, and then it's in collaboration with Vision Maker Media in Nebraska.
Sure.
And so we're working in collaboration with the submissions and just kind of like curated content, and we're taking submissions for that. And that's basically another platform to showcase some Native filmmaking in the region.
And so what year are we in with this film?
The fourth annual.
The fourth annual? And have you been involved all 4 years then?
Yeah, I've been involved since its inception, and you know, I just want to say something too. You know, why I really believe in this event in the film showcase, being here in this community of Rapid City, is you know we have filmmakers from the region, you know, that are bringing innovation into Native storytelling. Like Angel said, you know, and that's an interesting discussion in itself, you know, how we're looking at these stories and how we're being careful with these stories, because there is a power to them. But with Native Pop, you know, this is a chance for Rapid City to see this different kind of emerging storytelling that's taking place right now. And it's pretty new because you're literally kind of watching history in the making with these individuals, these talented individuals who are going to be flipping the script, and so to speak, as far as it comes to native film. And I think that's going to kind of culminate with a major film coming down the line. I'm not saying it's going to be somebody from South Dakota or Lakota. Maybe it's Dene, maybe it's Cheyenne. I mean, I don't know who, but you're going to see it kind of. You're going to see that it's like these thunderstorms that are around here in the Black Hills. You're watching something build before you, and for the community of Rapid City, it's a really good chance to see, what are people's voices from this area? How are they feeling? How are they looking at things differently? And this is an opportunity to see that. So I really encourage the community of Rapid City to come and check it out. In addition to everybody else that we'd like to come and see.
Sure. And so, kind of what you're saying then, it's a opportunity for non-native community members to really get a cultural view of what we go through, kind of with not only our the things that we deal with as a the bad things happening in our communities, in our areas, but also that native humor, which is always fun. And to kind of understand somebody from that level is really bringing that understanding. What makes a person laugh, what makes them smile, what makes them cry, is understanding them from the inside. And it's really good in race relations building is kind of what you were getting at there. So Angel, have you had any submissions so far for Native Pop, the film showcase?
Yeah, well, we've the way the process works is that we kind of suggest also filmmakers that we know, and even just working within this work, you get to know other filmmakers and other people, and so your network just kind of grows. Mm-hmm. And so it's just throwing their name in the hat and asking them, like, would you like to submit? And then Vision Maker Media has their own process as well. So we're just trying to meet halfway together.
Yeah, bring it together and make it happen. Cool.
Yes.
And so, when is this happening again?
It's July 21st, and it will run conjunction with the art market. Mm-hmm. There's still an open call out for films right now through June 18th, and you can find information on that through Vision Maker Media or Racing Magpie. Mm-hmm. But typically, the film festival will run the duration of the day's events. So, like last year, we ran from 9 a.m. to about 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty nice because you can kind of come in at your own leisure. Mm-hmm. And last year it was really hot. So we had people just come in and take a break from the heat and catch a couple films and then go back out into the art market.
And so where is it held exactly?
Well, this year is a little different because they are switching the location. This is a new location for us, and it's the Black Hills Bureau building, which is downtown here somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where that's
downtown
at.
Rapid City.
But regardless, it will still be a nice little respite. If you're out there and you're more interested in the market, but you want to take a nice little cool break.
I think they're going to come for the films. Angel, Jesse, thank you very much for our discussion tonight. I want to thank our producers, our sponsors, and I want to thank Prairie Edge for hosting our show, and I want to thank you for making Oyate Today a part of your night.
You've been watching Oyate Today, brought to you by Native Sun News Today.